Chapter 91, Genetic Miracle 3. At the same time, the Black Crown Queen Bee was one of the few species of mind power mutation in nature. Whether it is the Wuxia Genetic Committee or the Blue Star Genetic Committee, they all have a high bounty on the corpse of the Black Crown Queen Bee. The starting price of the reward from the Wuxia Genetic Committee is 20 million cash and 10,000 honorary contribution points. 20 million in cash, 10,000 honorary contribution points? Zhu Tui gasped. Honorary contribution points were not included in individual level rights. However, their value in the Genetic Committee was no different from normal contribution points. It could be used to purchase scarce resources that money could not buy on the market. This is just a reward. If we take it out, we would be able to exchange it for even more, and Zhao Saxui said. Even though Zhu Tui had guessed that this ability might be used on himself, however, at this moment, he was still shocked when he heard the value. It was true. An astronomical figure landed on him just like that. He had gained much today. What would he do in the future? Miss Anne, were your injuries caused by the Black Crown Queen Bee? Zhu Tui suddenly asked. And Zhao Saxui let out a cold grunt. That's not it. The colony of worker bees controlled by the Black Crown Queen Bee is massive. Under normal circumstances, even genetic evolvers would not be able to deal with it. However, with the secret technique that my teacher had left behind to deal with the Black Crown Queen Bee, it would be easy to deal with it. My injuries were caused by the enemies. And Zhao Saxui had a cold expression. Enemies? Why? Do you have any doubts? You don't think that the entire Blue Star can be united and peaceful just because there is an extraterrestrial battlefield, right? And Zhao Saxui said, I just think. The interaction between genetic newcomers is far crueler than you can imagine. The extraterrestrial battlefield is also not what you think it is. It is far more mysterious and complicated than you can imagine. Zhu Tui still wanted to say something, but Zhao Saxui waved her hand and said, let's continue. The effect of this item is not long. The problems that I had mentioned just now were things that every genetic newcomer had to face in the future. You will know in the future. And Zhao Saxui continued to guide him. The mental type genetic information elixir extracted from the head of the Black Crown Queen Bee will cause the genes related to the mental type to mutate and strengthen after it is administered. However, this method was actually very violent and dangerous. The probability of a genetic breakdown after an injection is over 90%. So, are we going to experiment with those clones? This time, Zhu Tui thought about it even without Zhao Saxui telling him. That's right, only these clones can give you a safe and feasible plan, and Zhao Saxui said, there are only 40 clones. What if all of them fail? Zhu Tui asked. Let's compare the probability. There are 40 clones. The probability is not low. If we fail, all of our efforts would have been wasted. We would have to wait for the next opportunity, and Zhao Saxui said. With a ding, the work on the genetic information extraction device was completed. Alright, we will now extract 1 milliliter of the Black Crown Queen Bee's genetic information fluid. Then inject it into a transcriptional carrier fluid with the serial number 1. We will then inject it into a 1 milliliter of regulated pathway gas. The gas will vibrate for 30 seconds before being administered into the body of the first clone in the incubation chamber. A few minutes later, Zhu Tui finally opened the first incubation chamber and saw the clone body in it. However, this clone body was not what Zhu Tui had expected.